All right. Hello, all you sports fans out there in podcast land, and welcome once again to another edition of Babbling Brooks, your new favorite podcast, where I, your host Brooks, try to bring you some of today's sports news with just a little twist of my point of view. Hope everyone is having a happy Thanksgiving, a great Turkey Day, and all that jazz. I'm just taking it easy today. Gonna definitely watch some football, maybe a movie or so. But first, I wanted to bless y'all a little bit with this episode. Thankful for sure for a Hawks win. Losing streak over. Great way to go into the holiday. Definitely impressed with this Hawks team after putting up 152 points in regulation on Tuesday night in a losing effort to the Pacers in a game that really kind of felt like the Hawks should have won. The next night, second half of a back-to-back, the Hawks come out and have, another pretty much almost a 40-point first quarter right out the gate. End up with 45, so I almost said almost. They almost had another 80-point half, is what I really meant to say. But, ends up 45 points in the first quarter when you really kind of expect them to be a little tired. You would have understood if they were kind of tired from the previous night's action. But they didn't show any real fatigue per se till the third quarter. Look, that was the only quarter where the Hawks didn't score at least 31 points. Had 45 in the first, 32 in the second, and 31 in the fourth. But only 23 in the third quarter, outscored by the Nets 28-23 in that quarter. And that was where it got kind of concerning. You're like, oh no, it's like last night. You have a lead and you lose it in the third quarter. The difference is the Hawks took the lead back in this case. They didn't let themselves get into that hole. And Pacers, scored more quickly, efficiently than a lot of teams. But the Nets are no slouch in that department either. Just look at what Mikal Bridges was doing in this game. Him and Trae both 40-plus. Bridges ends up with 45 points in this game. Trae Young, 43 points. Which it did not look like he was going to end up with a lot of points. You watch the second and the third, even the fourth quarter. The first quarter, he was on fire. He hit 7 threes in just the first quarter. He's like, okay, he's going to have an epic night is what it was looking like. Or no, 6. Because I had to change it. I was like, oh, damn, he's already got 4. And then he hit a 5th one. And then a 6th one. Went for that 7th one, man. But ends up hitting 8 3-pointers in this game. Took 16, but hit 8. So it's not a bad number, especially if you're going 5 of 8 on the previous night. So 2 games, 13 points. Over 80 points in these 2 games. Coming up 38 previous one, 43 in this. Go with 9 assists, 4 rebounds, and 2 steals. Trae Young, man. And what was great is, after the first quarter, it kind of slowed down on the shooting. Because what happens in a lot of those cases, the other team is kind of starting out daring him to shoot those threes, then that's where. Okay, yeah, you're not going to shoot that deep 3. And Trae's like, oh, okay, you don't think I'll shoot this deep 3? Watch me. And probably one of the reasons you might say, why would you dare him to shoot that? I was like, well, his 3-point shooting, it's kind of been coming along. Not been terrible, but definitely not been great so far this season. It took him a second to find his shooting stroke, which happens. Everybody kind of finds their way a little different. Beginning of the season, it's a long kind of struggle. Not everybody comes out the gate perfect. You got to kind of get that rhythm a little bit. But it definitely feels like Trae Young getting that rhythm. And they start covering it a little bit more. And good thing about with Trae Young, when that happens, number one, if you don't double him in some way, you don't try to trap him, whatever, he's going to beat you. But you start to trap him, start to send an extra guy at him. The thing is, Trae Young is one of the damn best passers in the NBA. Always looks, just seems to know, intuitively where his teammates are. I feel like he's starting to trust his teammates more and more as he gets to know them, and also just grows as a player and, of course, a person as well. And he's got some guys that can score for him. And once he's not scoring, he's dishing out the assist one way or another, making it happen. And Trae Young may have been kind of quiet the second, the third, fourth quarter even. But when we got to overtime, it was almost like he was like, man, he put this team on his back. And maybe it was because he missed that free throw that could have, made overtime not necessary. He had 2 free throws and he split them. So we ended up with a tie at the end of the regulation. Not a victory like we could have had. So Trae Young, I feel like that had to weigh on him. Even he said, he's like, I got to make those. Trae Young shoots free throws pretty damn well. An incredible percentage. And doesn't miss many. But that was not an opportune time to miss one for sure. But he made sure, give him credit. Made sure the Hawks were not come back to bit in the ass by that. He is 11 of 13 from the free throw line. Only 2 misses he has. Comes 1 at the end of regulation and 1 at the end of overtime. But neither one dooms the team, as they hit a lot of shots in this one. Trae Young, not the only one doing it. Hit 43 points. The reason we end up winning it, you feel like it's Trae Young? Just the way he steps up in overtime, scoring like 14 points, most of our points in overtime. But he wasn't the only one doing his thing. You got to give credit to the bigs. Both of our centers, the starter and the backup, end up with doubles in this game. 14 points, 15 rebounds for Clint Capela. After kind of a quiet rebounding game for him, big bounce back. And we didn't even win the battle of the boards in this one overall. But Clint Capela makes, him winning his battles on the board to the big part of our victory in this one. Also, he's 7 of 8 from the field, so good job of getting the rebounds and putting it right back in. Had 9 rebounds out of his 15 were offensive. So that's some unoffensive stats for a Hawks fan. That's what you like to see, giving your guys, giving yourself extra opportunities, more chances to score, equals a better chance to win, especially when you can play some defense. Both these guys did that. Clint Capela had 3 blocks on Capela Okongwu. He, in addition to having 12 points, 10 rebounds, just like his buddy Clint, a double-double. He also has a block. Only 1 block, but boy, was it a big-ass block coming down there near the very end of overtime. It's like, get that out of here. Right, coming off the Hawks just getting a score on the other end with Trae. And this is what you could say, a game-winning block. Maybe could have won without it. But thankful on this blessed day of thanks that we didn't have to find the fuck out. I guess I should cuss less. It's a Thanksgiving episode. For Nana, I'll try to swear less. Not that she listens, but just in case. It is Thanksgiving. But how about also DeAndre Hunter, who, I was kind of talking down on yesterday a little bit. Felt like in hindsight, I was too negative yesterday. Just tired. Sometimes I feel like that'll seep through. But DeAndre Hunter definitely had himself a game in this one. Ends up with 25 points to go with 11 rebounds. So that's right. The Hawks got 3 guys with double-doubles in this game. And Trae Young ain't one of them, because he was 1 assist away from a double-double. But 11 rebounds from DeAndre Hunter, had 1 steal, 2 blocks. This is what we love to see. Need to see it more often from DeAndre Hunter. You got to understand, you're not going to see it every game. And I feel like when I was being too negative yesterday, I forget to mention that even when he's not getting necessarily like points or rebounds, DeAndre Hunter's playing defense. He's hustling. He's getting some steals, occasionally getting those blocks. But what a game he had in this one. Damn, I hate ESPN's app sometimes. If the screen goes off just for a second, you gotta reset everything. It'll go back to Gamecast and can't even look at the box score. But great game for DeAndre Hunter. 2 of 7 from downtown, 50% overall, 8 of 16. DeJounte Murray, he was questionable. It was a game time decision for this game. I kind of, honestly, after the way he got hit on a couple plays the night before, Tuesday night against the Pacers, I was kind of expecting him to be out of this game, honestly. But DeJounte Murray loves basketball, hates to not play basketball, so he's out there. Not as big a game as before, but still breaks the 20-point barrier. 20 points, has 2 steals, just like Trae Young. People want to say Trae Young can't play defense. How about both of our starting guards with deuces for steals? So you love to see that. Almost as many assists as Trae. He has 8 assists, goes 6 rebounds. So what you like about DeJounte? Always going to get you a couple more rebounds than Trae. Just, the grab, physics, height, that kind of stuff. And but still, you gotta love seeing getting the steals, also finding ways to distribute the rock, getting it right. Hawks in this game end up with 7 players in double figures. The Nets had 4, but all their guys that were in double figures had over 20 points. Whereas the Hawks end up with 2 guys, only 3 players with 20 or more points. DeJounte 20. Of course, DeAndre 25 and Trae Young over 80 points the last 2 games. What a job in the back-to-back. Because a lot of times a back-to-back can be tough. Just it's like you didn't have to travel at least for this one, so it's the easiest back-to-back we've had in that regard this year. But all the running they did against the Pacers. 152 points in a losing effort to come out the very next night to go to overtime going against a team that is not playing the second half of a back-to-back in the Brooklyn Nets, and you end up scoring 147 points in this one. It's in 2 days. This Atlanta Hawks team scored 299 points. Let me say that again. In the last 2 days, this Atlanta Hawks team has scored 299 points. Getting it done in this one. And this is what we need to see, man. When this team combines the defense with the offense, you're going to win games. They've got talent. We're deep. You got 5 starters who can score. A lot of guys who can do multiple things. Jalen Johnson, a little bit quieter in this game. Only 7 points, 6 rebounds. Still ends up with a block, 2 steals, 3 assists. Some great passes too, man. One of them right to the end there. And the way he hits threes kind of spreads the floor out a little bit for this team. He's a danger to hit him. Only hit like 1 or 2 in this one. But you always know he can do that. Or he can attack. He can dunk on you. Put you on a damn poster. A layup. And he's getting even better and better, it feels like, at passing the ball. I say it pretty much every game. This isn't like a showcase game for him. Jalen Johnson still deserves to be in the conversation, in the running for the most improved player in the NBA so far this year. You've got to keep it up throughout the season. But honestly, I believe he will from what we've seen so far. Other guys in double figures. Of course, both centers. Double-doubles in this one. Sadiq Bey and Bogey a little bit quieter off the bench in this one, but still 12 points, 2 steals for Bey. While Bogdanovich, 14 points, a steal and a block, as well as 3 assists and 4 rebounds. And I feel like when they hit the shots, it was very important. And, the right time. This team just got a lot of guys that can be there for the right time. And it's kind of weird you look at it. The team played better with the bench players. Like the overall plus or minus is negative for all the starters but DeJounte Murray. And, double digits negative plus or minus, so the point differential while they're out there with DeAndre Hunter even. But the bench doing a great job making up for it in a lot of ways. Bridges not out there. Okongwu was plus 16, plus 17 when Bogey's out there. AJ Griffin, I was right. He got some action, but it barely counted. Only 3 minutes. No shots whatsoever. Team's plus 10 while he's out there. So I like to think he's doing something, to influence that. Bay only had 12 points, but still, still looking good. It's just great to have those guys for those key minutes. But the big difference you got to feel like is the bigs doing their job. And, of course, you do not win this game without Trae Young. But shout out to the Nets, man. The Nets played a good game. Never went away. When there were times it felt like the Hawks would start to pull away with it, the Nets were like, not so fast. And Cam Johnson ends up hitting 5 of 8 of his threes. A lot of them early on, a couple later. I remember Bob Rathman being surprised, him and Dominique being surprised that Cam Johnson wasn't out there for the attempt at the game-tying shot. Lonnie Walker, the fourth former Spur, former DeJounte Murray teammate, ends up missing the shot there at the end that could have potentially sent it to another overtime, which was key. If the Hawks, they did a really good job of not playing tired necessarily when you would have not been surprised if they'd been playing a little bit tired. But yeah, the third quarter, they started to feel it, I believe. It was a little bit slower, allowing the Nets to take the lead at various points, but never letting them get away. But you don't want to go to 2 overtimes because I feel like at that point, the Nets would have probably had the advantage on the Hawks because I think you get to that second overtime, it gets a little tougher on the legs, I would assume. And Cam Johnson's up with 23 points. Already talked about Mikal Bridges. He had a double-double in this one. 45 points and 10 rebounds. And, man, it was Trae versus Mikal, man, there in the overtime period. Like, they were just trading baskets, going back and forth. And then, like, the one shot, it felt like he missed. He missed more than one. But it felt like it was just that one. It was like a bunny, as Dominique Wilkins called it. It was like the easiest shot he had of the night. And right at the rim, and it just kind of rolled off somehow. So we'll take it. Nick Claxton had himself a hell of a game. 3 blocks, still 22 points and 11 rebounds. Spencer Dinwiddie, great veteran for this team, 26 points and 12 assists. So great for them. We beat them on the bench a little bit. We had 3 players in double figures on the bench. They had 3 guys that scored off the bench, but they're only 7, 6, and 8. So, one of the strengths of this team from the start has been the bench. Now that the starters, you got Trae and DeJounte starting to hit them shots better. I mean, look, last couple of games, look what Trae's been able to do. Averaging 40 points, 2 games, back-to-back days. DeJounte Murray over 20 in both of them. Dishing the ball out, getting steals. And then you have Saddiq Bey. You got Bogdanovich. You've got Onyeka Okongwu coming off the bench. That they're capable of putting up these type of numbers. Like you got 3 guys on the bench capable of double figures every day. And then you still got guys like A.J. Griffin, Wes Matthews, who can put up, give you some quality minutes and put up some shots. We're really surprised not to see more A.J. Griffin in this one. But, I mean, I guess you can't argue with the results. They're getting it done. Like almost every single player who played more than 3 minutes for this team in double digits. Jalen Johnson, the only exception. And he played a lot of minutes. He's not shooting as many shots as normal. And that's kind of normal, too, for, you can't have, not like everybody's going to put up a huge amount of shots every game. There's only so many minutes, even in an overtime game. So, I'm not going to let that get down. He had 4 games in a row in double digits. Just a great year of growth so far for Jalen Johnson. And, great team, man. DeAndre Hunter, just a bounce back in this one after not looking so great last couple of games, getting ejected. First time in his career, just a couple of games ago. Great job for him. And just Trae Young, I can't say enough about what he's able to do. Just goes off so much in that first quarter. And, kind of doesn't let it ruin his game. Keeps doing his thing as he doesn't shoot. Doesn't have as many shooting opportunities the next couple of quarters, but just taking over the game. And that's what players of his caliber need to be doing. Not going to do it every game, but you need to be doing it on a more regular basis than we've seen so far. That's what we need to see. Just see him take the game over, put the ball in his hands, say, I'm going to win this. I am not going to let us lose this game. And what a way to go into the holiday for the Atlanta Hawks. Getting back to 500, back like the Year Old Drew song, back to 500. Great song, great artist. 7-7, the lucky number heading into the holiday. Hawks are off until Saturday when we start a road trip in Washington. We've got back-to-back games, Saturday, Sunday. First in Washington, then going up to Boston to take on the Celtics, who right now are 12-3. Of course, they'll be, they got a game in between, so they won't be 12-3 then. We'll see what happens. But then after that, the Hawks on Tuesday, the last game that they will have in this NBA in-season cup, going against the Cavaliers and Donovan Mitchell. Let's look at real quick at some of the other games from last night around the NBA. Of course, the Mavericks, and Kyrie hitting the shot at the end to send them over his former teammate LeBron James, and the Lakers. Hornets beating the Wizards 117-114. LaMelo Ball bringing the team back from a 19-point deficit. 7 losses in a row for the Wizards. LaMelo had 34 points in this one. But the Nuggets going down to the Magic, 124-119. Got Suggs and the Joker getting into it a little bit, but that's 5 wins in a row for the Magic. Franz Wagner was the leading scorer in this one, 27 points. Paulo Banchero had 23. Jalen Suggs only 10, but doing his thing for the most part, having an improved season so far. 30 for the Joker in the loss. The Bucks making it a close one, but still losing by 3 eventually to the Celtics in Boston. I tried to watch this, but I didn't feel like turning off the antivirus shield on my computer to watch the illegal streams. Because at one point early, the Celtics had a pretty big lead on the Bucks. But, this team, Giannis, Damian Lillard, they're not going to go away. 27 for Dame, 21 and 13 for Giannis. Brook Lopez, though, the leading scorer, 28 points in this one. But, when you got Tatum at 23, Brown with 26, you got the new guy, Porzingis, with 21. You're going to win some games when you're the Celtics. They got some scores. Then, of course, they got Drew Holiday to play the defense, dish the ball. And he had 8 rebounds in this one. You would expect him to have maybe 8 assists, but that was Jaylen Brown. So good job for them, man. Top 2 teams in the East right now. The Heat beating the Cavaliers by 30+, holding the Cavaliers under 100, 129-96. The Raptors taking on the Pacers. Pacers just beat us, and they have back-to-back games over 130, just like us, but they lose as the Raptors take it 132-111. The Rockets beating down the Grizzlies, dealing with injuries, dealing with the suspension of John Morant still, ready to get him back, I'm sure. And there, you got Brooks going up, Dylan Brooks against his former team. Only ends up with 13, but he's still helping get it done. Missed all his threes, but what matters is you get the win. Jabari Smith Jr., 18 points, 9 rebounds. What Jalen Green, 34 points in this one. Great job for him. Jaren Jackson Jr. trying to do his thing, just couldn't hit any threes. At 23 points, 7 rebounds in this one. Biyombo, I keep forgetting they got him as their center now too. So we'll see what happens with them, man. They got, the injury, of course. Marcus Smart, John Morant suspended still for a few games. I think like 12 more games. Derrick Rose, though, getting some playing time in this one. 7 points off the bench. Good job for him. Timberwolves, they keep winning. They have won, 10 of their last 11, something like that. They're on a nice little run. Anthony Edwards, 31 points. Of course, they no Joel Embiid in this game. So, that you better win. Joel Embiid's not playing. So, 112-99. I was like, man, surprised to see the Sixers only scored 99. I'm like, oh, that's why. But the Timberwolves, man, one of the they're top team in the West right now, especially even before the Denver loss. Of course, when I try to look at the standings, it doesn't want to load. There we go. If Yeah, Minnesota, they won 3 in a row and at least 9 of the last 10, maybe even more in other ways. Phoenix won their 5th in a row last night, taking down the Warriors. OKC has now won 6 in a row, beat the Bulls by 14. And how about Shai Gilgeous-Alexander in this one? 40 points, y'all. Blocking shots as well as he had 3 of those. But Chet Holmgren, going for that Rookie of the Year trophy after missing what was supposed to be his rookie season. How about 18 points, 13 rebounds, and 4 blocks for the youngin'? And then you got Joe, 20 points off the bench. This team could make some noise this year. Still early on, but you'd rather be 11-4 like they are than 5-11 like the Bulls and company. Clippers getting the win over the Spurs. You got to have Popovich telling the crowd to stop booing Kawhi Leonard. He gets 26 points, but Victor Wembanyama, how about the leading scorer for his team? 22 points and 15 rebounds in this one. And, he blocked 3 shots. So, him and Chet Holmgren both trying to bolster their candidacy and doing a pretty damn good job of it. Also, Paul George, 24. Got James Harden, 16 points, getting into shape. And, shout out Russell Westbrook going to the, volunteering to go to the bench. Not going to have the high totals, but he can still come through and have some big nights. We'll see that happen some. Mentioned the Suns beating the Warriors. Of course, Chris Paul, kind of the story of this one, getting thrown out by Scott Foster, who obviously has some personal feelings about Chris Paul, and it definitely feels like it affects how he calls games. Just the one technical makes sense, but the second one, you got both the player and the referee kind of jawing. And Scott Foster just one of those referees that you just kind of hate that just thrives on that power that he gets there. But good news for the Warriors in this one, Klay Thompson started to look a little more like Klay Thompson. He gets 23 points to be their leading scorer, but not enough as KD with the 32. How about the Blazers taking down the Jazz? 121-105. Got Scoot Henderson back last night. Jeremy Grant was, of course, their leading scorer, as he's been a lot this season. But Scoot Henderson coming off the bench. And only 3 points, but he was up with 7 assists, 3 rebounds. Not a bad return to the team. 0-3, but, down in the G League for a couple games. Was injured before that. So you're going to have some moments, not going to be all perfect for the rookie. But, man, Jeremy Grant has been a key player for him. It felt like they kind of just brought him in to sort of be like, hey, see, Dame, we're trying. And now Dame gone, Jeremy Grant, their kind of featured guy. There'll be all the NBA we'll talk about. No NBA action today, but there is some NFL action. I'm going to give you my thoughts, my predictions for the 3 games that we got today. And we got, of course, starting it out, the Packers going to Detroit to take on the 8-2 Lions. The Lions going to get win number 9 today. It's a home game. Jared Goff. He's got St. Brown up there. He's got his other guys that are really damn good as well. Pretty decent rookie tight end. Got running back room at full strength. Gibbs and Montgomery. Lions gonna get the dub and then eat a bunch of turkey. And they got a Madden, honoring John Madden, who used to always have his turducken there on Thanksgiving. So they're going to get the win. And how about the Commanders? 4-7. Ron Rivera taking his team down to Dallas. Cowboys coming off a win in Charlotte where they dismantled the Carolina Panthers. Made it look like they were playing in Dallas. It was a road game for the home team. And could they potentially get upset today? I'm going to go with yes. And this is a totally biased pick. You kidding me? The first team I ever really rooted for in the NFL was the Washington football team. They coming off a couple Super Bowl wins. They haven't had a shirt in middle and elementary school. And it kind of bounced around between them and the Panthers because it just felt like that far away. The team was hard to connect with. DC is actually even farther away than Atlanta. So once there was a team in Charlotte that was like my team. But, man, I love me some Ron Rivera. And I don't think it was a mistake to move on from him and for the Panthers when it happened. It still could get moved on from here. But definitely hiring Matt Rule was a mistake. Frank Reich is not looking like a great decision, but still got time to turn it around. Hopefully. I think the GM gets fired there first, but that's a whole other thing. But, you got Eric Bieniemy is kind of nipping right on Ron Rivera's heels. Shit, they could try to get him in Buffalo, too. Wouldn't be a bad move. But I don't know. It may be unlikely. But I just feel like Ron Rivera gonna get the best out of those dudes today. The Washington Commanders gonna go to Dallas and find a way to get the upset win. Now, I wouldn't put money on it, but I'm going with my gut, and I'm gonna go with the kid in me. The 49ers going to Seattle, taking on the Seahawks for today's prime time game. And I'm going to go with the team that prime time played for. Now, Coach Prime, Deion Sanders. 49ers are one of those teams I rooted for. And even unbiased, I think they win this game. But it'll be a battle, man. They got the 12th man. It's a prime time game. They're going to bring the noise in Seattle, and Geno Smith is expected to play, but Brock Purdy's on a roll right now. He's got Christian McCaffrey. He's got a healthy Deebo Samuel. He's got George fucking Kittle. He's also got Brandon Ayuk and a defense that's got a Bosa and Chase Young. So 49ers going to go to 8-3, man. I used to love watching the 49ers around that time. Of course, they had Deion Sanders for a limited time. They had Jerry Rice catching the ball from Steve Young. I loved watching the 49ers there, especially for a couple years. And they're going to win tonight. Tomorrow, I'll probably talk tomorrow anyway. I'm going to try to. But if I don't, the Dolphins going to Jersey to take on the Jets for the first ever NFL Black Friday game on Amazon Prime, which I guess makes sense. And I believe the Dolphins are going to win this game, y'all. Aaron Rodgers ain't going to be playing. Zach Wilson, whoever the other guy is. Tim Boyle, that's who their quarterback is now. Zach Wilson's like third string. So, how the mighty have fallen. Not that he was ever that mighty. But I think the Dolphins are, they're gonna go back for seconds and feast on them Jersey Jets. Of course, the Panthers taking on the Titans. Makes you think last time the Panthers went to Nashville to play the Titans was when Cam Newton was dabbing and dapping all over the damn league. We ended up with going to the Super Bowl 2015. We're undefeated till the Falcons beat us late in the season. One of those wins was over the Titans when players got upset. You had the mom writing a letter to the Charlotte paper from Tennessee saying she was so upset with his hip thrust and all that. But Cam Newton was like, hey, y'all don't, play for the players at least. He was like, y'all want to see me celebrate? Don't let me get nothing to celebrate, man. That team was special, 2015. Especially because it wasn't like now where everybody was dancing, like even in baseball. But Cam, was leading the team on his way to an MVP trophy. What a season for Cam. It's just sad to see, think about what we had going then, the culture the team had, like with a strong defense, getting takeaways. The offense was having fun, winning games as a unit. That was a fun year. We really sucks. We got to lose to fucking Peyton Manning's retirement tour at the end of that one. But either way, that was an episode. So I hope y'all have a great day. Enjoy doing your family thing if that's what you do. And if you're not doing the family thing like me, that's okay too. Don't let it get you down. It's a beautiful sunshiny day. Here at least, kind of cold. So maybe not beautiful. But from here, it looks mighty nice with that sun shining in on me. It's why I like not having shades. I can feel the sunshine getting all this natural light in this beautiful house from 1940 that I live in. Anyway, like I said, that was an episode. Enjoy the day. Eat that turkey. Go back and eat some more turkey. I won't be eating turkey, but think of me as you do. Then you have them little tryptophan naps. And hey, man, some football, baby. Always good to watch some football tomorrow. Get some college action as well. Whenever I think of Thanksgiving at my Nana's house, I remember there'd be the next day, my mom and my aunt, we'd all, a lot of the family, we'd stay in North Carolina, in Mount Airy, North Carolina at the time where my Nana lived. And then my mom and aunt would do the Black Friday shopping, but in a small town, because I lived in a small city. But Mount Airy, it was actually the town that Mayberry was based on the Andy Griffith Show. So it tells you something. It was the chillest Black Friday you could probably find. You know what I mean? If you're gonna have one. So I think my mom and aunt kind of like that. And then the grandkids spend the day with my Nana. A lot of times I'd end up downstairs watching rivalry college football games. I still remember watching back when it mattered, Colorado-Nebraska games when they were both Big 8 teams. Nebraska, I think they were fresh off, or pretty close to being fresh off. Time was it when they shared a national championship with Michigan, I think it was, sometime there in the 90s. Of course, Scott Frost, the coach that got fired before they ended up hiring Matt Rule, was their quarterback back then. But there was other games too. That's one that sticks in my head. I remember I'd be watching them downstairs while they'd be playing games, especially as I got older, in my low teens, and I would just be on my own down there while they did their thing. Because I was 5 years older than the rest of the cousins. And, my cousin Ben is younger than me, but usually since he was the only other guy cousin, we would hang out. But a lot of times it would just be my sister and my youngest cousin Katie, who got engaged recently. Congratulations. And then they'd kind of be hanging out, them and my Nana, and I would do my thing. We'd go eat at some point. It was a good time though. So I do miss not being able to see my family for Thanksgiving, but I get to go home, spend a week up there, starting Christmas. So I'm excited about that. And like I said, hope y'all have a wonderful, happy holiday. Babbling Brooks is signing off. So peace out, y'all.